morning, everyone. Hello, all. Richard, Sam, Ken, Gary, Alex, Lazarus is in the house. Sam Peterson, John, Anna Brackett, Adobe Live. It's good to see all of you folks. Hello, everyone. What's up, Austin? All right, guys. I've got a lot of stuff that I want to cover today because this challenge number 7 of the Photoshop Daily Creative Challenge is going to be a little step heavy, but it's going to be pretty awesome. For those of you folks who are new in chat today, this is, as I said, challenge 7 of the Photoshop Daily Creative Challenge. If you have not been following along with us for the last week and a half, if you guys head over to the page behance.net/challenge/Photoshop, which I am about to pull up right quick right here and show off. You folks can get a little bit of information about what we're doing today. You guys can see all the challenges that are being unlocked every morning, and you can also get a link to our Discord by clicking the community chat button at the top here, or scrolling down to the bottom of the page and hitting join us under the chat with the community section. And you can participate in the challenges, share your entries with me and with the community and the awesome mentors that we have in our Discord, which looks like this. And make some friends, get some feedback, kind of improve your Photoshop skills, scrub up on those finer points and basics of the program, and just kind of get into creating a project. We're also going to be going over uploading all of our stuff, not only to Discord, but to Behance. So stay tuned till the end of the stream, because I'm going to show how I upload everything and create kind of a nice case study on my Behance. Make sure we got that keyword in there so that everyone can discover your project on Behance and all of that good stuff. But now I think I'm going to jump into the challenge as quickly as I can, because I want to make sure that I cover everything that I have planned out today. Oh, there is background music. It's possible that it's not very loud, though. I can turn it up just a little bit. You might be able to hear it a little bit now. You guys can let me know. All right, so I am going to pull up my Photoshop, and you'll notice that I have just a background in today, and it looks a little bit retrowave. Shout out to all my 80s retrowave, vaporwave fans in chat, because we are getting super retrowave today. It's going to be awesome. So you guys can choose any background image that you want. I am a fiend for purple, so clearly mine is going to be purple and blue and pink. And real quick, I'm just going to type something out here, because we're going to totally retrowave some awesome text right quick. And I'm going to show you how I do this. There's a lot of different ways that this can be gone about, but I'm going to show you guys my technique for today. So I'm going to hit T on my keyboard, and remember I've got my handy dandy shortcuts up there in the top right corner, so you guys can see what buttons I'm pressing as we go along with this. And I'm going to click in the middle here, and I'm going to take off caps locks, and I'm going to write something. I said that this is going to be kind of a Back to the Future themed kind of thing, because on the kind of like the text and the awesome retro like metal vibe we're going to do, but it's also kind of like Guardians of the Galaxy a little bit as well. So I'm going to write Guardians is what I'm going to do. Boom. And I'm going to click here, and I'm going to go Control-T so that I can make this a little larger here. I'm going to hold Alt while I resize that so it resizes from all angles there. And I'm going to put that in the center like so. And I'm also going to turn this text black. So here's where things start to get slightly tricky. And you got to make sure that you do these steps exactly like I do them, so that your effects in the future will look like mine. So we're going to right-click our text layer, and we're going to transform it into a smart object. And then we're going to duplicate it 3 times after we turn the fill down to 0. It's going to be totally invisible. I know that's weird, but bear with me, folks, okay? So fill is on 0, and I'm going to go Control-J 3 times, okay? And I'm going to rename these. I'm going to name one Emboss. I'm going to name one Pattern. And I'm going to name one Color. Alright, things are getting a little weird. Music is too loud and distracting. Here, let me crank it down. How's that? Alright, sorry about that. I have my Slack notifications very low so that they don't play on stream. My bad. Sorry. Do steps exactly as I do. Music intensifies. Okay. All right. So what I did was I typed out my phrase, and I turned the fill of my text layer to 0. All right. Can you guys hear me now? Okay. Sorry about that. Not a problem, this is making me laugh. All right, yes, behind the scenes Adobe Live outtakes with Voodoo Val. My apologies. A little bit lower? Okay, we can do that. All right, hopefully that works. Better, so much better. All right, excellent. So I made a text layer. I turned the fill down to 0. And then I duplicated it 3 times, and I renamed those layers Emboss, Pattern, and Color, because we're going to do some cool effects on those, okay? Now you can hear me. Perfect. All right, I'm also going to select these, and I'm going to move these underneath my Guardians layer, just to keep everything very organized. And so now I'm going to start applying some effects with the layer styles. So I'm going to double-click Color here, and you can't see my text, because the fill is on low, or on 0, but bear with me. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to apply a gradient overlay. I'm going to hit gradient overlay here, and I already have some colors I've been working with, but if you'd like to edit your colors to something different, all you have to do is click to edit the gradient there, and you can move these around here, you can double click them, and you can change the colors of the parts of your gradient overlay if you prefer. And mess around with anything that you want. You can also come in here and choose some of the default ones if you like that, and kind of work on that as a base, or just leave it as is. But I'm going to leave what I have and keep it like so. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to add an outer glow to this. So I'm going to click outer glow real quick, and I'm not going to leave it on white. I'm actually going to change this to like a nice pink color. And I'm going to sample out here so that it's a pink that's related to my background. And then I'm going to bump it up to something a little more saturated and bright. And I'm going to hit OK, and I'm going to kind of size that out just a little bit. That looks pretty cool. I'm even gonna bump some noise into it because I really like noise. If you guys haven't noticed, I put noise on everything, and it's been like this for about 2 months, and I don't know why. But if you don't want noise in yours, you don't have to add it, but I'm definitely gonna go a little crazy with it. So there's that. And then the last thing we're gonna do is we're gonna add a drop shadow. And you guys can play around with however you want the drop shadow. I'm going to add like a little bit more distance so that it's very obvious over there, and it's got some noise on it, but I think, let's see, I think I might crank it down just a little bit. And I'm going to leave it like that, and I'm going to say, okay. So I've got all of my color things that I want going with my Guardians text here, and I'm going to close that little bracket. And then I'm going to go into pattern. Now before I go into pattern, I've created a pattern separately, and I'd like to show you how I did that so that you folks can create your own pattern from scratch for use for this if you don't have a pattern to use already. So I'm going to come into my libraries here and click my little pattern. It's a weird little shape. Basically, what it is I'm going to apply this as kind of like a black metallic reflection in my text. And it's just a quick little thing that I made. I just took my brush and, dashed it across my canvas, and then erased some pieces out of it. And then what I did was I did Control A to select the entire canvas. And then I go up here to the top to edit and define pattern, which is right behind me here. So you hit define pattern, and then you can name your pattern whatever you want to name it, and it will save it to your patterns in Photoshop. It's very quick and easy. So I'm going to hit cancel on that because I've already got my pattern selected. I'm going to come back over here to my Guardians, and I'm going to double click pattern, and we are going to add the pattern in. So I'm going to scroll down here to pattern overlay. I'm going to come in here to my file, and I'm going to scroll down to the bottom and make sure my pattern is selected that I want. And then I'm going to mess with the scale here because I kind of want this in the center of my text, like so. Let's see if I can crank it down just a little tiny bit, not too much. It's very sensitive. I think that'll probably do it right there. All right. So I'm gonna apply my pattern. And once I have that, then I'm going to also add another little outer glow because that's the kind of vibe that we're going for today. But I'm gonna make it a little bit smaller, and I'm gonna keep it on a screen. You folks can decide if you want it smaller or larger, and you guys can decide what kind of color you're gonna go for because you guys might have different color schemes that you're working with for your text today. But I'm gonna keep it on the like purple, pink, kind of vibe today. So I'm going to say okay. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to hit okay. And then I'm going to close this bracket on our pattern like so. And then the next one that we're going to do is the emboss. So I'm going to double click emboss like I have been for the last good while. And I am going to apply a stroke like so. I do like this purple. And of course, I like this purple. So I'm going to leave mine, but you folks might like to choose a different color. So I'm going to leave it like that. And then I'm also going to come up here to bevel and emboss, and I'm going to mess with these settings. You'll notice you get like a little preview over here of what it looks like. And I'm kind of going for that metallic satiny look. And the way that I'm getting that is I'm making sure that my style is on stroke emboss. There's a bunch of different ones here that you can choose from. I'm using stroke emboss. I'm keeping the technique to smooth, and I've cranked up the depth on this just a little bit. And I can kind of go back and forth to show you. It just makes it a little, I mean, what it appears to do is make the metal shinier, which is why I used it. And then you can change the size and everything you want just to kind of get a little bit more texture if you like. I might even crank it up just a little bit because that looks pretty great. And then down here, you can change the angle that you're working with as well. You can see how that kind of goes in nicely to edit what this all looks like. I kind of want there to be the brighter points on the very top like that instead of having the black edges on the top there. And then you can edit the gloss contour here. I have selected the second from the left on the bottom row here because that's what I thought looked the best. But you can actually come in and edit these yourself if you want to, or you can select the one that I'm selecting because it looks pretty good for this project. And then you can come down here and add any highlights or anything you want. This, I actually really like how that looks super, super highlighted. It makes it look very extra metallic and retro wave like that when I crank it up. So I'm going to do that. And you can come through and scroll through here. I do actually like to crank up the shadow mode as well because it adds those darks and makes it look extra metal and shiny. And then the last thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to add another outer glow. Please, please don't judge me. But this one, I promise it's going to be a little different than before. I'm actually going to make this one white. I'm going to crank the noise down. I know that that's surprising. And I'm going to make the size very, very small just because I want like a very subtle white outline to all of this. Is it possible to edit this? Massimiliano, you are a fortune teller because that's exactly what we're going to do. And I'm going to demonstrate that once we get to the end here. So I've added the bevel, the stroke, the outer glow, and I'm going to hit OK, just like that. And I really like this. If you guys want to kind of edit, like maybe this is kind of a cool promo that you're doing, you guys can throw some noise textures and stuff over the top of it as you like. I'm actually going to maybe make, after I close this little bracket, I'm gonna go Control-Shift-In to make a new layer, and I'm just gonna call this dark, like that. I'm gonna grab my handy dandy paint bucket over here, or I'm going to press G on my keyboard, whichever is best for you. And I'm going to paint bucket this black back here, and then I'm going to scroll down here and find a good blending mode just to make things ever so slightly darker and mess with the opacity a little bit. And then I'm going to select the background and the dark layer by holding Shift and clicking them. I'm going to go Control G to group them, and I'm going to rename this background. You can also get extra fancy if you like and overlay some cool flares you guys want to go extra Michael Bay with explosions and lens flares, that's totally cool. I've got a pretty cool double flare texture here, which I'm going to bump up to the very top. I'm going to hit Control T, and I'm going to resize this, and I'm going to throw it on top there, and I'm going to hit this with a screen blending mode because that's what will look the best. An overlay could also do it, but I like the screen a little bit better. And I'm just going to kind of duplicate this with Control J and then Control T to transform, and just kind of place some of these around because I think they look super cool when they're placed around like that. If I had more time, I might spend a little more time thinking about the actual placement of these, but I'm just gonna kind of toss them around like so, and I think that looks pretty cool. I'm gonna group these by holding Shift and clicking the top and bottom most that I want to select, and then Control G again, as we've been doing for the past week and a half. I'm gonna double click this to rename, and I'm gonna call this Flares. Now, this is pretty cool, but there's also an extra little bonus added awesomeness here, because while this is a pretty great look, you don't want to have to do this every single time you use this technique to create cool text like this. So, if you remember at the beginning, we made one smart object layer and then we duplicated that, which means that all of our emboss and pattern and color layers are linked to it. So if I come over here to my layers panel and I double click the layer image of our Guardians layer like so, it opens up a layer that has our text on it still as a text file and not as a smart object. I can hit T to open my, my text tool, and I can click in here and I can write something totally different, like Adobe Live, for example. And then I'm going to go Control S to save. And then when we pop over here to our Guardians again, ta-da! Ta-da! So you can just edit it right there without having to move around all the stuff, without having to redo all of the things that we just spend so much time doing. Yes! Isn't that super awesome? So now you guys can make super cool, awesome 80s retrowave, vaporwave text for your promos or for whatever it is that you would like to use this technique for. You won't have to waste all the time doing it over and over again for different phrases. And then all you'd have to do if you want to change it back is if we go back over to our Guardians over here, we can double click and we can change it back to Guardians. And you can change the font, you can change whatever you want. The only thing I would say to keep in mind while you're doing this is when you do change the font, and you do change anything in this file, make sure that none of it is breaking the borders of the file, because for instance, if I Control T to transform this and I bump this up out of the border like that, hit enter and save, then when I come over here, it's gonna be cut off and weird. Now you could use this to your advantage and make something that's super cool looking, but if you don't want that, if you don't want things to look weird, make sure that when you edit this, that you edit it properly and you choose fonts that will stay within the borders. Also, you might have to go in and edit the bevel and emboss and stroke and all that, just in case you choose a font that is very, very thin. Because as you can see, mine is like a caps font with super thick strokes. So because I have my settings the way I have them, the bevel looks really good, but if I chose something very, very thin, it might make things a lot less legible. Yes, the font is called Aldo the Apache, for those of you who are interested, and I believe it is a free font. So that is how I do my Guardians, my cool retrowave text, and I am also going to, I think I'm going to crop this because we're going to upload this to Behance. I'm going to hold Alt here to kind of drag in from the edges, and I'm going to hit enter, and then I'm going to go Control Shift S, which is the command for save as. I'm going to navigate to my folder, and I'm going to save this as a JPEG. Boom, boom. And then we're going to pull up our Behance project here. So let me navigate back to my Behance like so. I'm going to click my profile picture here. I'm going to hover over the gear here and hit edit, and then I'm going to scroll all the way down to my challenge 7 and upload my awesome piece. I've been waiting for a very long time to be able to do this challenge with you guys. So I'm going to say 80s retro wave, like so. Maybe 80s retro wave text. Boom. I'm gonna come down here, insert media. I'm gonna navigate to my Guardians. I'm gonna grab it. Boom. Throw that in there. Watching from Bangladesh. Awesome. M.A. Moomin, thank you so much for being here. Is that font part of the Adobe font family? You know, I've had this font for a very long time, so I'm not sure, but I highly recommend you guys check out Adobe fonts, because if they don't have this font, then they'll probably have something similar to it. But I'm pretty sure Aldo the Apache is a free font, so if you look it up, you can probably still find a free license for it. No problem, Adobe Live. This has been a blast. This is one of my favorite challenges of the DCC. So I'm really excited that I got to share this with you guys. I'm also going to pull up after I hit save here. Also, wait, let me cover this because I didn't cover this a few other times, and I know that you folks really wanted to see this. If you go into your settings in discoverability, there's a place where you can put keywords. Make sure you have the PS Daily Challenge in your keywords, because that will improve the discoverability when we look for entries for the Daily Challenge. So I'm going to hit save, and I'm going to hit save again. And then when I come into my profile, it's gotta give it time to do its little save thing. When I come over to my profile and I open my Photoshop DCC piece here, and I scroll down, then my piece is right there for everyone to check out. I'm gonna pull up my Discord real quick. I'm gonna go to design feedback, and I'm going to hit the little plus button, and I am gonna navigate back to my Guardians, and I'm gonna grab it up and throw that in there. And that's it. Pretty awesome, right? How to download fonts. There's a lot of ways that you can download fonts. I would say the easiest by far is heading over to Adobe Fonts, because all you have to do is be logged in with your Creative Cloud ID, and then you just have to hit the little toggle that says Activate Fonts. You can search for stuff there. In fact, I could pull up Adobe Fonts for you real quick, because it's a fantastic resource, and they have unlimited font downloads now, which is just incredible. So if you head over to Adobe Fonts, this is what you will find, and you'll be able to search. I'm not signed in for whatever reason right now, but you'll be able to sign in, type in whatever font you want, and then you'll just hit, they actually look like this in the artwork, just a little toggle that allows you just to go boop, and all of it will sync to your Creative Cloud and be available in your Photoshop immediately. It's fantastic. So that's fonts.adobe.com. But real quick, let's take a look at the entries that you folks have put in here. So many people did so many cool things with the Stranger Things themed challenge yesterday. I've been looking through here and seeing so many cool things. Hotel comic, this is hilarious. But there's so many good ones. So many people actually, like a lot of people did the classic Stranger Things type, but I also like to see stuff done in totally different colors and fonts and things, which is really cool. But you all have been doing a wonderful job. I'm going to jump in there later today and give some feedback to some of you guys individually and kind of give you guys some pointers. Sam has been in there going ham, just totally giving you guys awesome tips and mentoring so many of you. Our kid, I'm glad that you did this retro wave thing. I hope that you enjoy this one, this challenge today, because as soon as I saw it, I thought that was great. I was like, oh my goodness, this guy is already ahead of the game working on 80 stuff. So hope you enjoyed it. Good news, unlimited fonts. Yes, awesome stuff. But yeah, so definitely join the Discord. This is the link up here, bit.ly/. bit.ly/PS Discord if you'd like to join, submit your entry, and hang out with me and the other mentors and the community in Discord, kind of helping each other get better at Photoshop and improve our skills. And it has been a blast. Stay tuned, because right after me, there's going to be a pretty epic Photoshop segment coming up, and then Melody's going to be back for the XD Daily Creative Challenge, followed by an awesome UI UX design stream. We've got a full day jam-packed with more epic design streams, and I'm sure it's going to be fantastic. I'm going to be in chat. I know some of you guys are going to be sticking around, and I can't wait to hang out with you. I will see you guys tomorrow morning bright and early for challenge number 8. So until next time, everyone, adios.